These kids, I mean, for people that have come and watched these games, these kids are spilling their guts every single Saturday. I mean, they're playing their hearts out. The effort, the attitude, the energy, the passion that they're playing.
On episode 2 of Panther Talk with Butch Davis, we take a look back on the memorable victory over UTSA, a win that earned the Panthers bowl eligibility for the first time in 6 years. We chat notable moments from Saturday night and the veteran leadership from players like Thomas Owens and Fred Russ, and why this team is capitalizing on its potential so far. I'm AJ Ricketts, that and much more on episode 2 of Panther Talk with Butch Davis. Welcome back, episode 2 of Panther Talk with Butch Davis. After one of the most thrilling wins of the season, 14-7 win over UTSA. We'll chat that. And, no shortage of things to talk about this week as FIU now bowl eligible for the first time since 2011. Coach, that was fun Saturday.
It was.
I mean,
obviously, Panther fans got to love that. I mean, if you're a football fan, you have to love it because, I mean, it was one of those old school games. I mean, it wasn't 52-49 type of a game. This was nothing to nothing at halftime. Both teams had opportunities to kick a field, and neither one of us were able to accomplish it. But we came out the second half, and we got a jump start, and we played the way that I'd like for us to play. Got a nice 96-yard drive down, take a 7-0 lead, and then special teams maybe made the play of the game, obviously. Fred Russ, Daniel Jackson exploded, knocked a kickoff return guy loose, and then Alex Magoo throws a touchdown pass to get us to a 14-0 lead. But it was an exciting football game, fun to be a part of.
Let's talk about that first half. Drive stalling on both sides. It was tough for either team to get across the 50-yard line. The missed field goals for both teams. Yeah. At the half, were you encouraged by the defense in that first half? Was there an element of frustration? Because the defense only allowed 83 total yards, so you had that going for you. But what was the mood at halftime? Encouragement, frustration?
Yeah, just obviously the defensive aspect of it was very encouraging, and I think the special teams were almost, in some respects, with the exception of the one play on kickoff, they were almost not a major part of the game. Neither team was able to manufacture any kind of punt return opportunities. Everything was either hitting the ground, fair caught, or they kicked it into the end zone. Both of us did. So the punt game aspect of it really didn't create any kind of field position advantages. I think probably the biggest frustration, AJ, probably was the fact that, we had some bad field position and we started drives off very well. I mean, we made 2 or 3 first downs and we'd get it out to the 35, the 40, the 45-yard line, and then not being able to finish the drive. Get a negative play, maybe a tackle behind the line of scrimmage, an incomplete pass. A couple of times we had some penalties that kind of put us in some bad situations, and I just said, hey, if we'll quit shooting ourselves in the foot, we're going to be able to drive the football and be able to score. And then obviously they made some adjustments. They came up with a really good scheme on the outside to be able to keep the ball in the quarterback's hand because we were loading the box and taking away the inside running game. And that single play probably kept a lot of drives alive for them, and it took us a couple of possessions to find an answer for it.
Well, something Hurley Brown and I recognized early was the pressure you were applying to Sturm. I mean, 4 sacks in the first half. A lot of those due to the hustle and the intensity of the defensive line, but your defensive backs great in coverage, and then Williams and Wentz really racking up the tackles. It was a very impressive performance with the pressure.
Yeah, I tell you what, our defensive line probably had maybe their best game as far as rushing the passer. Obviously, Newt Salisbury had 2.5 sacks, and that was outstanding. Trayvon Williams, we added him in on some of the blitz concepts that we came up with. He had 2 sacks during the game. We ended up the game, I think, with like 6 sacks, and we probably, conceivably, AJ, we probably should have had 2 or 3 more that we missed some in the second half. But that was one of the areas that we really felt like that we might be able to expose them, is be able to get some heat on the quarterback. If you could take away the run, and which obviously is kind of the goal every single game. You take away the run and make it a one-dimensional game. Then if you can put the pressure on the quarterback, then you've got a great chance to win the game.
Moving ahead to the second half, that drive down the field, 15 plays, 93 yards, took 8:23 off the clock. Certainly one of the most impressive drives of the season. You had Devontae Price contributing, Tony Gator, and then Owens with that reception for the touchdown. I mean, that put it together and seemed to give the team a little bit more energy on the sideline.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, obviously, when you finally take the lead, now it's up to the defense, it's up to the rest of the offense to continue. And when we got to 14-0, that would have been the really good time, if we could have gotten a 3 and out after that and not allow them to kind of answer to that 7 points that we got off the turnover, then maybe if you kick a field goal, or if you'd have kicked a field goal in the first half and you're up by 17-0, it dramatically changes their mindset. Then now they've got to throw the ball. It takes the run away from them, and now you're pass rush. Now then they get a chance to heat it up and go after the quarterback even better. So, but it was a hard-fought game, and obviously, AJ, we'll talk about it, I'm sure, in a little bit, but the goal line stand was spectacular.
Yeah.
It's in all my years of coaching, it's got to be one of the 2 or 3 best goal line stands that I've ever seen. And the guts, the determination, and it was several guys helped make those plays. The defensive line not getting knocked off the ball and allowing the linebackers and Nico Gonzalez to get in and fill the holes and keep them from getting in the end zone. Huge, gigantic momentum swing.
Yeah, that came midway through the fourth quarter. Before that, though, a huge special teams play. Fred Russ, look, he had 1 tackle on Saturday, and that was probably one of the biggest tackles of his career, jarring the ball loose at the 20-yard line on that kickoff to get possession back. Yep. He already has as many tackles this season as he had the entirety of last year, and more than his first 2 years combined. You have a guy, a leader, a veteran like that, making one big tackle. That's huge.
No doubt about it. And Fred is he's somewhat taken the role of the leadership on special teams. He's on all Big Four, and he's energetic. He's enthusiastic. He brings passion to it. And obviously, we talk about it all the time about, we want to have a big play, big hit reputation defensively. And we've had some on punt cover. We've had some, previously where we've tackled the kickoff return guys inside the 20-yard line, make their offense have to go 80, 85 yards, and it really is a huge advantage. But that play by Fred, he ran down the field. He did a great job of avoiding the block around the 35-yard line, broke down in space, and put just an absolute form tackle. Hit him right in the chest, knocked the ball loose, and Smear Spence was right there to cover it. So it was a huge, gigantic play in the game.
And that set up an interesting situation. I want to get your philosophy on this. And when you have a big play like that, particularly on special teams, of course, in that situation, it puts you right in the red zone. But when you get a big turnover in a game, whether it be in the red zone or midfield or even your own position, what is philosophy in terms of trying to go for it big, that first play right after turnover versus getting yardage in chunks, just setting up the offense again? Do you consciously want to go for a big strike after a turnover?
Well, obviously, like AJ, a lot of it depends upon the field position.
Yeah.
That field position warranted absolutely go for the throat right now. They're probably unorganized. They're maybe a little bit disgusted. Some of the guys that are going to play on defense were probably maybe on that play, and they're maybe pouting around a little bit. Yeah. So I thought that Rich Skrosky, offensive coordinator, did a great job of coming up with a conceptual idea of a way to, they're going to think that, hey, maybe you're going to try to run the ball. You're down inside the red zone. They had loaded the box up to stop the run, and obviously it was a great pass, to Sean Phillips, and he made a great catch.
Let's get back to that goal line stand. One of the most exciting sequences of the season. They're at the 1 yard line, and they have multiple opportunities. They go for 4 run plays.
Yeah.
What were you expecting? What was the emphasis?
Yeah.
And this was after the turnover for the Panthers.
Sure.
Marched their way down the field. You said after the game you felt that was maybe a more impressive goal line stand than the one at Rice.
Yeah, well, the one at Rice obviously was huge from the standpoint that it was 4 plays at the 10-yard line, not 4 plays at the 1.5-yard line. And, it takes an awful lot of guys. If you're going to have a goal line stand like that, the guys that made the tackle would have never made the tackle, outside of the end zone had it not been for the defensive line. Their penetration, their pad level, staying down low and not getting knocked back, allow the linebackers to roam on the feet of the defensive lineman and then to fill the holes. And the very first play, his first and goal at the 1.5-yard line, and Anthony Wynn and Trayvon Williams and Nico Gonzalez, just all 3 hit the hole. They had an offensive lineman, they had a fullback leading, and they made about a half a yard. Yeah. Then they came back with the quarterback sneak, and again, nobody got knocked off the ball. They didn't make any yardage. Then they came back to the play that they had run the very first time. I think they thought that, hey, we need 2.5 feet, and they ran it. We stuffed them again. We hit him actually penetration. He tried to jump. He was going to jump into the end zone. He went flying, and we stopped him probably a foot from the goal line, and you thought, okay. at one point, and this is one of the things that I liked about our defense, they played discipline because you kept thinking maybe one of these is going to be a play action pass. They're going to fake that load play. They're going to run it up in there,
play action,
and go play action and try to hit somebody. But all of our guys stayed in coverage. And then when we came to the fourth play, you kind of felt like, okay, they've tried it up in the middle 3 times in a row. They're going to try something on the perimeter. And guys did a great job being in position. They tried the belly flip play on the outside and thinking that, we'd be selling out to try to run inside, and they'd walk in the end zone, and we had 3 guys out there to help make the tackle.
All right, Players of the Week. I know we nominated Trayvon Williams for the Defensive Player of the Week. Was he the player of the game in your mind?
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, we give awards on Sundays to guys, and I mean, his statistics, he had 10 unassisted tackles, he had 3 assisted tackles, he had 2 sacks, and he had 2 tackles for a loss, and was a big part of that goal line stand. I mean, it was just a fabulous performance by him.
I thought it was a special moment after the game. Alex Magoo, after the celebration and the bowling of the players, he jogged out to the 22-yard line. He just took a knee, knelt down, and just took about 20 seconds to soak it all in, looking around, just looking at the ground and just soaking it all in. And then, of course, I'm sure the scene in the locker room was very raucous as well. Does that scene in the locker room join some of the more notable post-game memories in your career with win number 6, especially for a program when it's been a while? It's a significant moment.
Yeah, it is, AJ. I mean, obviously, these kids, for people that have come and watched these games, these kids are spilling their guts every single Saturday. I mean, they're playing their hearts out. The effort, the attitude, the energy, the passion that they're playing. And then, obviously, when you win the game and you get in the locker room, you get a chance to watch them really celebrate the team's effort. And I think that they appreciate it. Because it literally, the games that we've won, it hasn't been a one-sided. We haven't gone out and scored 62 points and just blown them out offensively or shut them out, and it didn't matter what happened, for the offense in that particular game. Every game it takes all 3 phases, and I think because everybody's making such good contributions to the win, I think it creates an awful lot of great celebration in the locker room.
Talk about writing stories and creating moments this year. Whoever's writing the media guide for next year has a lot of stories to put in there.
Absolutely.
Get some extra.
No doubt. And AJ and I, and you and I have talked about it several times during the course of the season, that one of the things is that you kind of build your own history. You know, in future years, we're going to get a chance to reflect back. The kids that are on this team that are freshmen, redshirt freshmen, sophomores, when it's their time to become the stars and they're the guys that are playing, you can say, hey, remember the goal line stand, against UTSA. Yeah. Remember the come from behind victory. Remember, the win against Tulane when we were a 14-point underdog, and all those things. And now all of a sudden, it's things that really resonates with them because they were a part of it.
Yeah. Coach, you said after the game, I don't know that I've ever had a team that has gotten as much out of their talent as this one. And that struck me. I want to ask you, what characteristics maybe define teams like that? But beyond things like getting the extra reps or getting in early, staying late, I feel those things are almost prerequisites for trying to achieve your potential. But what is it in this team and the teams that have gotten the most, that have maximized their talents? What do they do to order to achieve that?
They take ownership of it, AJ. Yeah. And I've shared a lot of stories with them about the Super Bowl teams that we had in Dallas, the national championship teams that we had at Miami, and the playoff team that we had at Cleveland. Some of the places where I've coached, the players, they really, really pour everything into the preparation, because truly how you play on Saturday is a byproduct of what you've invested during the course of the week, and eventually in the season it's what you've invested from last January, the off-season workout, spring practice, over the summertime. But now, as the season progresses, how much are you willing to come in and keep doing a little bit extra every single week, a little bit extra film study, a little bit staying after practice? People want to know, why is Thomas Owen such a good receiver? Well, how about the fact that he catches 150 passes every Sunday afternoon? He stays after our walkthroughs on his own time, and he just goes out there and catches and catches and catches. And if you want to be a great player, regardless of what the position is, how much time and effort are you willing to spend to become better? Whether it's lifting extra weights, working on your flexibility, getting treatment, studying your iPads and the cut-ups, it shows up on Saturday.
Do you feel that buy-in happened pretty quickly once you guys got here?
Yeah, pretty much so. I think these kids were hungry to win.
Yeah.
And I think as a byproduct, I think that obviously, every single week there's things to learn and things to continue to do. And in some respects, we've only kind of scratched the surface. There's a lot of things for this program and this football team to continue to improve.
Did that win especially it being win number 6, bring it back to any moments when you got to that 6th one, maybe at Carolina, I think in 2009 after they had been gone for a while, or when you started getting things rolling at Miami, or even in the NFL. Well, did it bring you back at all to any particular
absolutely.
point? Yeah.
I think every time that you've been able, at Cleveland, getting to the playoffs, they've only been to the playoffs one time in the last 25 years. Yeah. And, when you're able to accomplish something that people don't think that you can do. At North Carolina, I think they had 7 losing seasons in the previous 8 before I got there. And then, and we went 4-8 the first season. And that second season, when we turned it around and we started winning games, those things you remember those. And it's always our special memories. And this, I guarantee you, will be one of the special memories of my life.
Yeah, that was a special time. You started averaging more than 50,000 at Carolina and Keaton Stadium. You guys were filling that place up. All right, looking ahead, looking forward, more moments to make, more memories, more stories. Old Dominion, a team that's had their struggles this season, but they're coming off a 6-0 win, a close win themselves. They came through defensively when it mattered most, and maybe feeling a little bit of momentum here. It's early in the week, but any initial impressions here on ODU as the Monarchs get set to come
obviously it's early, AJ, as far as the film study and
Sure.
those kinds of things. But the thing that jumps out is that, one, how competitive that they've been against some high-profile programs. They started the game off, and, they've played against Virginia Tech that was rated in the top 15 a week ago and almost on the threshold of cracking into the top 10. And they were highly competitive. They put a lot of emphasis on their special teams. They've had some kickoff returns that'll absolutely electrify you. They'll make you want to work hard on your special teams this week, punt returns. You watch, they played against North Carolina before North Carolina had all the injuries that they're dealing with right now. And early in the ball game, it was highly competitive. And so because of the competition that they've played in and how close, I know their coaching staff, and I know that they do an excellent job in preparing these kids. And, as much as you and I talk about other teams and stuff like that, a lot of times every single week it was this way. The last 4 or 5 weeks, it's really about us. It doesn't really matter who the opponent is. It's like, how high are you going to set the bar, and how hard are you willing to work to reach that bar and make sure that we play well. And if we play well and we do everything that we can to prepare for a ball game, then, the results will take care of themselves.
You think it's going to be, at this point of the year, with all the maturity and the veteran leadership on the team, easy for the team not to overlook ODU looking forward to the Shula Bowl, or do you think those thoughts are there?
I would be very disappointed. Because obviously you talk about those kinds of things. It's 1 week at a time.
Yeah.
Regardless of, you can't control the future. So all you can do is take care of the preparation for this game. And like we talk about it every single Sunday, we walk out of our team meeting and our record's 0-0. We haven't won a game and we haven't lost a game, and this is the next game.
Lavin Hurley Brown said the players shouldn't talk about it. We're going to talk about it.
Right, exactly.
Hurley's already looking forward to that game. ODU a chance for FIU to get to win number 7. 8's the program record, and still a couple of games to go. Coach, appreciate the time here on episode 2. I got to say I'm a little disappointed in you. However, you were over at the Graham Center. You didn't bring back any cafecito from Cafe Bustelo. We got to work on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got to get some sponsorships for that show, so that'll work out.
That's
good.
a swell idea. Coach, appreciate the time.
Thank you, AJ.